You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
So on the heels of Nebraska signing Trey Taylor, I said Braylon Warren he will be the most highly coveted quarterback to come out of Nebraska. I think is undeniable.
At this point, yeah. I mean,
And he still has 2 more years.
Yeah, there isn't.
So we're talking like upwards of like 30 offers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
by the time we're done.
If he balls out this fall, because that'll be kind of the inflection point.
And he's gonna camp too.
So he'll camp well because he's got like physically can do whatever you want him to do. So if he camps well, which he will, and then he balls out this fall, that's where it's really going to go nuts.
What would you extrapolate for one Braylon Warren?
I mean,
certainly a 4-star.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think that's even a question.
Are we talking Carter Nelson, Christian Jones? Actually, Carter Nelson probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Septak maybe.
Septak was it was
my guy.
Not Septak, Steinkuhler.
Yeah, Banner Steinkuhler. Zach Potter was 4-star, highly coveted guy.
Steinkuhler was the highest rated. Steinkuhler, as far as recruiting service rankings, Steinkuhler is the highest rated recruit.
Only 5-star.
Yeah,
like consensus 5-star that Nebraska's produced.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably not good. Well, he could get to a 5-star.
I mean, Trey Taylor was like the only commit that could keep us from hand-wringing over B, and he doesn't have a bigger fan than me that's not named Steve Warren.
Mm-hmm. I think there isn't a quarterback that's been, as much as, I'm a huge fan of Zane Flores, which hopefully he actually is healthy this year and plays.
They're losing quarterbacks.
Well, I think
2 more quarterbacks hit the portal.
Mm-hmm.
And
because they had like 8 of them. So like, I think the cream is rising to the top. So, and hopefully, last year, if people didn't know, it's so weird. Like, okay, Husker fans so weird with like kids that go out of state, and I don't get it. Like, Nebraska didn't offer Zane, but you still, like, when people talk about Zane, you still like to bash him. Nebraska didn't offer him. He didn't have a choice. Like, and now you're bashing him because he's been injured for 2 years. Like,
you did have a coach that came in and was going to crash his celebratory state championship party, though.
Right.
And at the last minute did not.
Yes.
Be inappropriate.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, and
Mel did say, Dad did say thanks, but no thanks. We're committed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, but there's people that are still bashing that kid, and it's weird. Like, he didn't have the option to choose you, really, like when he committed and all that stuff, like the summer, like kids normally do, didn't have the option. And then, like, same thing with the Xavier Watts thing. I'm going to soapbox here. Sorry. Xavier Watts chose Notre Dame, not over Nebraska. That didn't happen. Like, that did not happen. He chose Notre Dame because Nebraska didn't think he could run fast enough. That's what happened. Like, that's the facts. That's what happened. He didn't choose to go somewhere else over Nebraska. That's not what happened. Like, I lived it. I was on freaking vacation, drove to Omaha to do a 3-minute interview with the guy, and drove back to vacation, like, with my family. I know what happened. Like, and Nebraska fan the other night was talking crap about Xavier Watts, and it's like, bro, like, that isn't the situation. He didn't choose Notre Dame over Nebraska. Nebraska chose to offer him, but at the end of the day, they weren't ever going to take it. So, like, what was he going to do? Situations like that just drive me nuts. Like, it just, I don't know. And maybe I am too much for kids
No, it's not really that, because I used to say that and then I would feel bad. Like I don't want to make me seem like I'm a better person because I'm universally for kids. Some people are just more pro Nebraska than they are pro non-Nebraska. So I don't have any problems with that.
So here's where it is.
I just don't like the hoping the worst for a kid.
Yes.
But I don't have any problems with you couldn't care less about somebody that doesn't go to Nebraska though.
So here's where it is for me, and I'm sort of the
I know I'm different, but I that doesn't bother me.
I'm different, but for a different reason, because I'm not. I mean, you know me. I'm not pro kids necessarily. Like I want to be treated well. I just, you know how.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want them to be mistaken, or I don't be like to be mistreated. I just don't want to be a part of it, right?
Yeah.
So my issue is I'm more pro Omaha and pro Nebraska the state than I am pro Nebraska the program. Like I want the state and my city to be represented.
Yeah, that's probably another camp, right?
That's what it is for me, because like if Watts goes out and balls out at Notre Dame, hell yeah, that's an Omaha guy. If Hunter Sallis goes out and balls out at Wake Forest, hell yeah, that's an Omaha guy. Like St. Thomas goes out and does his thing, or whoever else, right? That's an Omaha guy. I'm riding with those guys, right? That to me, I care more about that. Now, would I love those guys to play for the teams that I like? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I want the place I'm from to be represented well. That's why I care about those guys doing well. Because I want more people, and this is where I'm a little bit pro kids, is I want more people to come to the state and recruit the next kid.
Yeah,
right? I want them to come to the state because Hunter's successful and Zane's successful and Xavier's successful and Teddy Rizek's successful.
Yeah, like
I want them to come back.
I'll cheer for that. I'll cheer for Amarion. Like I'll cheer for.
Yeah, there's a bunch of kids at Iowa State I'm going to cheer for, right? Kramer and whoever else. But part of it is, I want Nebraska and Omaha to be represented well. And the next part is I want the next generation of kid to have those same opportunities. And if you have a bunch of guys that come from Omaha or Nebraska and then flop other places, then the recruiters don't come back.
No, I will say, I will say this. I was a little disappointed, and I try not to tell people how to fan. I was a little bit disappointed in the responses to Jalen about Marty. But I also get that Jalen had a choice to not tweet it.
To not say anything.
Probably could have just not said something. Yeah.
But it's like I would tell him, that's one of your best friends.
Yeah.
Like you guys grew up together. If you wanted to publicly say that, I don't have any problems with that either.
He can be happy for his friend. That's fine. I think just the problem is fans are
and Jalen's not mad at him. He's not like that's the thing that was bugging me. It was like, guys,
it just didn't work out. Like
he's not cheering for Caleb or Tristan or
other
guys that are still on that roster. He absolutely is cheering for those guys. Mm-hmm. Like they love. You think Jalen isn't cheering for Teddy Rizek? Like he's cheering.
That people don't know the problem is 90% of the time don't know the personal relationships.
He was getting cooked.
Yeah, because you said great choice. Now, okay, here's where I don't. This is kind of my while we're on this topic.
I mean, it felt a certain way.
So, do you know why though?
It did.
Why? Do you know why I think he said it? Because, and I'm totally speculating. Mm-hmm. Because I think the family is in an immediately better spot. Like I think he's cheering for the situation, not so much the school.
Sure.
Right.
That's what I think that's my personal take on it.
And that's giving him the benefit of the doubt, which you know him better than most, so that's fair.
Yeah. Well, both of them.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
One thing with this Marty Brown situation. Marcus Siegel got drafted too. He went to Kansas State. He also was at North Dakota State at first, and no one's mad at him for not going to Nebraska.
49er great, Marcus Siegel.
But you know what I mean? Like,
nobody talks about him.
God,
double standard. Like if we're not screw that kid because he didn't go to Nebraska.
Well,
the day that Burke stomped a mud hole in us when we had to move that game to daytime because of the weather. And who's the wrestling phenom that ran for like 226 miles that day? Burks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like on that field, Burks, Siegel, Heinrich, Hickman, Watts.
I remember that game. It was
there was like on the field that day of guys playing was incredible.
So you want to know the double standard there, Mike?
I'm pretty sure they smacked you that day too.
Yeah, well aware.
You want to know the double standard, Mike, and it's the same thing we saw with Charmar Brown the first time around. When you're going to North Dakota State, we assume you're not good enough to play at Nebraska. Then when it comes back,
I don't think we believe that anymore.
I think there's still
there's a lot of people that believe that, and there's a lot of people
selling Nebraska and short.
Stop. I don't.
Stop.
I think people see FCS and they're like, I wasn't good enough.
What you hit me with about Minnesota? And I'm like, hey, bro, look at the draft. Same way I feel about North Dakota State. They get more guys drafted than we do. And so you think we're thumbing our nose up at NDSU?
Do you want me to put a poll out there to see if people think Nebraska's more talented than Minnesota?
Do you want me to put a poll out there and say if we played North Dakota State 8 of the last 10 years that people don't think North Dakota State would beat us?
It'd be a 500
different question.
It is.
It's not.
Nebraska fans think they're more talented and think they would still lose.
It would be 5-5.
In so many games that we're more talented than teams.
No,
right?
we lose most of those games that we're more talented than teams. That's my point. That's why it's a different question.
North Dakota State versus Nebraska would have been 5-5.
Nebraska has an irrational reverence for North Dakota State.
I don't know. It seems like when high school.
I don't know if it's the bowl. I don't know. Like the last 5 coaches there have won a national title.
I get that. For me, when it seems like guys are going there out of high school, we think like, oh, that's nice for them. Like when a kid goes FCS out of high school, that's the sense that I get.
Oh, that's fair.
I think it's like,
I might not argue that.
So that's what it seems like. That's why we're not mad.
You said weird. You said it better the second time.
Well, like I got 3 hours, man. Give me a second.
We're out here. This is
like,
what is that?
Give me a second. No, I think when a guy goes FCS out of high school from Nebraska, we're like, oh man, good for them. Nice job. We don't. When they go to Illinois or somewhere else, another power conference out of high school, we go, oh, what the hell? How come Nebraska didn't get them? Like we don't view it as equals. We view it as like, oh man, they got a shot. Good for them. That's a good program. That's why I think it's different with Marcus Siegel versus Xavier Watts going to Notre Dame.
What do you think, Jerome?
Oh man, let me get myself in trouble.
You're a grown up.
That is because we can't think for ourselves. We, as in fans, etc., can't think for ourselves. We rely on people to tell you how good a player is and how good they're not without going and seeing for your own eyes. Even though those people haven't actually seen players with their own eyes too. So that is why you think players like Marcus Siegel, even though he had like an 8-pack and was built like a brick shit house in high school, but you never saw him play. So when he goes to North Dakota State or whatever, the punt passing kick analyst has never seen the person play. So then you just believe that they're not good enough.
Dare I?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's a punt, pass, and kick analyst?
I think I know.
I've never heard that a day in my life.
It's the first time I've heard it referred to that way, but I think I know what he's talking about.
Jerome, what is a punt, pass, and kick?
People that just show up when it's convenient.
Camp watchers.
Yeah.
Camp watchers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Camp watchers as opposed to ball watchers, right? That's what we're talking.
Hey, let me tell you something. And like, I know you can, everyone that does this job or whatever can't do this, but I went to 32 high school football practices last fall in 2 weeks. You know why I went? Not because I'm like, look at me, I'm waking up at 3:30 and driving to Columbus, Nebraska for a practice that starts at 5:30 in the morning. No, I did it because like, oh, I think there's a player over here. I want to go watch them actually practice and like in a team environment and do things like that. That's the reason why I go. So I know what the hell I'm talking about instead of, oh, I might watch one high school football game a year or two and act like I'm the expert. No, I fucking show up. Like, not that hard.
Jerome.
What? It's not. Like, just show up.
Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting cycle, right? Especially with like the numbers and the numbers game and whether you get things grandfathered in or not. And there's usually a guy or two every year that will get the dander ruffled. Safe to say this year and this upcoming season, it will be one Darian Jones.
Oh, why? I guess why did you say that?
Because I'm going to guess, like I said in the preseason last year, he's going to have a monster year.
Yeah. Oh.
And if he's healthy, he will do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And we will toss this thing around. Now, there are several candidates, right? There's
Bryson Williams.
Amarian Jackson. There's Bryson Williams has potential, but he doesn't have the offers yet. Right? So right. I'm talking about the guys that have offers that we will hand ring about. He's got to be number one suspect, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair or true.
Jensen?
Hey, can I say something?
Now that's a good one.
I love Isaac Jensen, and I've said that for over a year now. I love Isaac Jensen. He catches everything. That dude is a dude.
He has more people to share with, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Darian is clearly
the guy,
the dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The North.
He impacts everything.
Lots of things.
Specialty, like, yeah.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time because you don't want to rehearse it. Because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them.
All the success is great and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field are what lasts a lifetime.
You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Here with Nebraska Volleyball, Skylar Pierce. Skylar, you're just telling me this is your second year helping at Harrison's camps. You told me there's a lot of kids here that even recognize you. How special is that for you?
It's so special just because you never really understand the impact that you're making on people, but when you come to these events or like even other sporting events, you just can see their face light up, and it's just such a wholesome feeling.
Yeah. Why is it so important for you and this Nebraska volleyball team to give back to the community?
Nebraska does so much for our team, the fan base, everything. Like, they love our team so much, so the fact that we get to come back and like hang out with these kids that just love the sport so much and love hanging out with us, it's a really cool experience.
Sautter, can I ask you about quarterbacks here?
Yes, please do. Let's talk about the reason why everyone thinks that Jet Tamala's offer is not real. Please, I'm prepared.
I'm curious because
old ass dudes on all their teams.
Alabama, if you look at the offers that Jet has, Alabama's kind of an outlier in terms of program quality. And listen, I'm a big Matt Campbell Iowa State guy. I hope he ends up going there because I like Jet. And I'm glad that Jet's getting some recognition for being a good quarterback this offseason as the offers roll in. But it does seem a little bit of an outlier in terms of program quality. So I think people wonder. I think that's a fair thing to ask.
3,664 yards, 69.6% completion rate, 47 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But he's a bum?
No one said he's a bum.
People are kind of saying he's not good enough.
No one here has said he's a bum.
I'm not saying you guys are. I'm saying people.
I didn't ask the question. You already know how I feel about him. Don't throw the you guys on there. I'm just listening to young Jet.
I didn't say you guys. I said people.
Talk to you, Jerome.
Hey, listen. Yes, is it an outlier? Here's the deal, though. It's funny that Danny Kalen is an elite 11 quarterback, and this goes back to what
the Bible study with these guys last week in Lincoln.
Yeah, he like friends and stuff. Okay, he makes the elite 11. Zane Flores makes the elite 11. Nobody was like, oh, not good enough for the offers he's getting. Nobody said that. Nobody. But all of a sudden, like, this one guy who threw for 70% of his passes. And by the way, if you watch Miller South, they passed it a little bit. Like, is all of a sudden not good enough because it's Alabama? Like, I guess I don't understand. Like, he's probably physically matured quite a bit in the offseason, I would imagine. He's probably gotten a tick more athletic. He's probably gotten better because that kid works on his craft all the time. Like, why are we like, we should be celebrating this, not throwing shade at it, right? Like, I just don't understand. Like, that's just what I don't understand. And hey, if Nebraska thinks that Dayton Raiola is better than Jet Tamala, then so be it. That's fine. That's their opinion. That's their prerogative to feel that way. I have never seen Dayton Raiola play in person, but I would bet on Jet, and then the next quarterback coming right behind him after that, Braylon Warren. I would bet on those guys if I'm them, but they don't have to. That's what they can do. It's just I guess I don't understand. When that popped yesterday, there were so many like, is this a real offer? Is this a fake offer? Is this committable? You know, those sort of things. And I'm like, knowing Jet Tamala and his dad, for one, I don't think he puts that out there if it's not committable, to be honest. Okay. Like,
let's look at it from the general public's perspective here, because I do think there is a gap between this guy sucks and doesn't deserve offers, and Alabama seems kind of like an outlier, right? Like, we sit here and we go, okay, I like Jet Tamala. I was curious last year why Jet Tamala didn't start having offers earlier, because I thought that I was a good, clear Division I quarterback. So you look at it and you go, okay, this guy can throw it a little bit. He's got good projectables. We've seen him kind of throw down in basketball games, good athlete. And I go, okay, Iowa State, Arizona, Arkansas State, Colorado State, Duke, Iowa. These are teams that he was getting offers from. When you throw an Alabama in there, it is a little bit confusing in terms of the quality of offer. And then I understand what you're saying about committable versus non-committable, but if you're a person just that likes high school football in Nebraska and you go, okay, I know this guy's really good. I saw him play last year and the year before, but I'm looking at his offers. I don't always totally understand what's a committable offer, what's a non-committable offer, and I don't know Jet or his dad. Then you have no way of knowing. Like, it's a fair question to ask, to say, hey, is this real? When a lot of the stuff we see on social media with recruits is kind of nonsense, right? Like, if you don't have a personal relationship with the family or know anybody around them, it's a fair question.
No, it can be a fair question. I just also
don't know about you, Sautter. I wouldn't let him talk to me like that. I mean, man, shoot.
I don't think the instant reaction that has happened since he posted this offer yesterday, at whatever time that was, last night. I don't think the reaction from the media people, quite honestly, is fair whatsoever at all, because people again are going to go back in their mind and be like, well, Nebraska didn't offer, so he's not good enough. That's the reaction all the time. And hey,
I'm getting the exact.
I'm not saying you, Ravi, but I understand what you're saying about, like, hey, yes, it's an outlier, but do we also know for a fact?
I don't think there's anyone on this planet that doesn't think he's good.
I'm getting the exact opposite. I'm getting the people mad at Nebraska for not offering because Alabama offered. Like, I'm not getting not actually that good because Nebraska didn't offer.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing either.
I'm getting the flip side of that, where it's like,
they probably should be. If you're a Nebraska fan, you probably should be like, hey, what is going on here? But then you got to realize, like, okay, well, they already have their quarterback locked in. They're not going to take two. So you move on with your life. Back to the Jet Tamala thing is so we do know for a fact, because it absolutely happened, that Ohio State, for all intents and purposes, wide receivers and quarterbacks, they produce NFL talent left and right, right? We all kind of agree on that, right? Like, we know for a fact that they came in town and watched him work out and throw, and he's still kind of on their board and all of that stuff, right? We know that because that happened a couple weeks ago. But no one was like, oh, like, blinked. People were like, oh, he's probably pretty good. Like, there's
well, he walked away from that.
Two things are kind of being said. I think it's a straw man argument to not talk about his attributes. He's
very good.
I'm not even. Not only that, he's a pretty good human being too. Like, that matters a lot.
I don't know if we're saying the same thing. I'm not we. I'm just listening.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you two are saying the same thing.
I don't think we are either.
But here's the thing. Here's the beauty of it. And I've tried to set this up like weeks ago. It just hasn't had enough time to sink in yet. We got to stop using Nebraska as a barometer because I don't think a lot of people think that anymore. So we got to stop intimating it with the straw man stuff. Because we've seen this for like 15 years, guys, where other guys have gone to states and they've been and not had Nebraska offers, and they've been just fine.
Really successful.
And Nebraska hasn't won enough to like be the benchmark. And what's going to happen is if Nebraska ever gets good enough when they don't offer and they are winning,
we'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
People won't care then either. Like right now, I just think it's because Nebraska's not winning enough. Like it's going to come up again with Braylon Warren.
We're just horrified that a player from the state might get away and it'll cost us games.
You know, so I just think we got to, I don't know, you guys got to move over.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's time to kind of move on from that. But then when you get text messages from people that like colleagues that I work with and people saying stuff and intimating stuff, I'm just like that's not where we're at here. Like, let's not be that. Like, that's just my thing. I don't know.
I think you can have
I feel pretty
about it. On without having a conversation about whether he's good or not. That was the conversation I was having because I think we all agree that he's very good. And I think we can all say, hey, the recruitment has gone, this kind of comes out of nowhere seemingly in terms of quality of offer versus how the rest of the recruitment's gone.
Yeah. Here's one thing about the out of nowhere thing too, is like, when's the last time someone actually spoke to Jet about his recruitment and how it's going and stuff outside of when he actually committed to Iowa State? He lays pretty low. So out
of nowhere.
That's why I like him too.
When I say out of nowhere, I almost mean as much like when's the last time somebody from Nebraska had an Alabama offer? Like
Carter Nelson.
Sure.
Carter Nelson. That was like what, a year ago? So
but in general, like Alabama doesn't come knocking down the doors very often in Nebraska. So I think
it was a year. It was in the last cycle. It just happened.
One guy like ever.
I don't know about you guys. I'm still traumatized.
About what?
In a game in which I thought we were clearly outgunned. We were kind of in for a long time.
Yeah.
There's 3 plays that were made in that game, and he made 2 of them.
Yeah.
And you could make the case he made all 3, but Hill had such a good run after the catch on the dump down, the little check down.
Yeah.
That I got to give Hill some credit. But the other 2?
No, he's really good.
I'm like,
yeah.
I felt for a lot of the last year that I was higher on Jet than most people.
Remember,
I didn't
so before. You know how fast that ball's coming out of his hand?
because he processes it pretty quick. That ball's getting out of there.
Okay.
And he's got
2 years ago, it was like, oh, he's not athletic enough. He was just young. He was just young. So I'm excited to see him run it probably a little more this year in games, but I'm also excited to see him throw it around and Wednesday mornings in June.
Now, maybe see what it'll look like with the new coaching staff.
I don't think a lot's going to change.
Very similar.
Yeah, I don't think the offensive stuff that's not going to change. I don't think a lot's going to change there. And then another thing, like a people, not you guys, there was talk of, I've heard people saying is like, well, look who he's throwing to. He's throwing to all these high level.
Good players help.
Yeah, but also so when he gets to the next level, he's not going to be throwing to those same type of people. Is that? I mean,
goes Alabama, they're going to have good receivers too.
Yeah, if it's, you know what I mean. I guess that's
not to defend idiocy, but I think they're talking about the players that he's going against.
Yeah, comparison, the gap. But I also would say we don't say that about guys from Texas.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? A guy from Texas or California.
I'm
yeah.
Nebraskans are the only one that gets those criticisms.
Right. And I think I feel pretty good about where the football talent is right now in Nebraska.
Hurt Bellevue West quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh man, they got too many good players. Listen, you want those guys. It's a lot easier that way.
You also still have to be able to drop it into him or complete the pass or avoid a rush at times.
And quietly, I'll say I just got to say this about Bellevue West because I think they have a lot of other sports that fall under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, football isn't where Coach Huffman wants it the last couple of years, but basketball is right there. Their other sports are pretty good. And I'm like, where are these? Where are the? I mean, girls basketball is good.
Mm-hmm.
Track and field is good. Like
their 4x4 could win it next week, by the way, and they're boys. So
yeah, soccer's in the semis. I'm like,
track always good.
Not that I'm gonna go air high dap Morrow. That's my dude, but I might dap him up. All right then, Morrow.
Big Bellevue West guy, Damon Benning.
See, that's what I got to put up.
I do.
And I kind of like everybody, so I'm.
I try to tell people that, and I get in trouble.
No, I like that you root for everybody. I do.
It's fine.
Can't wait. Hey, this is what I can't wait for. So, like if I go to. If I go to too many Millard South functions or games or football stuff this like off season and like the games in the fall, I'll be like, oh, you're such a Millard South homer. Well, I was a West Side homer about 2 years ago, and then I was a Bellevue West homer before that. And I'm sorry, I like going to watch good players.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time because you don't want to rehearse it because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them.
All the success is great and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field, are what lasts a lifetime.
You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to to put it.
Here with Nebraska volleyball, Skylar Pierce. Skylar, you're just telling me this is your second year helping at Harrison's camps. You told me there's a lot of kids here that even recognize you. How special is that for you?
It's so special just because you never really understand the impact that you're making on people, but when you come to these events or like even in other sporting events, you just can see their face light up and it's just such a wholesome feeling.
Yeah. Why is it so important for you and this Nebraska volleyball team to give back to the community?
Nebraska does so much for our team, the fan base, everything. Like they love our team so much. So the fact that we get to come back and like hang out with these kids that just love the sport so much and love hanging out with us, it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, 7-on-7 tournament.
Are you going tonight?
No, I'm not. I am actually going to spend the weekend today, this afternoon, I guess noon to 7, 8, whatever it is, and then all day tomorrow at the Creighton team camp. Oh, so there's a bunch. There's a bunch of teams from across the region in Nebraska, and Waukee Northwest is there, and they're really good. And Colin Rice, I imagine, would be playing. He just visited Iowa.
Everybody's want list regionally.
Yeah, he just visited Iowa. That would have been Wednesday. And then he's visiting Nebraska on 14th, 15th, something like that. So I want to see him, maybe talk to him. So want to just have a feel for him. So I will be basketballing this weekend. But no, my 7-on-7 tournament, I'm going to brag about myself here. The latest iteration of the very first 7-on-7 tournament to ever be played in Nebraska, which started in 2016, is coming on June 16th and 17th.
Hey, the heck with that battle for 7-on-7 stuff, man. I'm the OG. OJ is in Jerome.
It's true. Like I was the first. Yes, it's a scholastic one, so it's not like all-star teams, but it's fun. We have some good teams. It'll be at Bellevue West, June 16th and 17th. June 16th is pool play, and I divided the pools, I think, pretty evenly. We have 18 teams. So Thomas Jefferson and Lewis Central from Council Bluffs will be playing in it. And then we have Central City, who I think is actually going to be pretty good again.
They will.
Remember, they were in the state finals.
They made it to state.
No, yeah. I mean in the 7-on-7, weren't they?
Yeah,
there
last year?
Good.
And they were good last year. They throw it around. So have them. Columbus Lakeview's in it, and then Millard South, Omaha West Side.
How'd the talk go with Isaac Jensen? That was a nice little sit down. He's he's a little unassuming for how he actually plays, because on the field, he's much more demonstrative.
Yeah, so they had passing league with TJ on Wednesday, and went out there because that's like their only passing league game they're going to play, Millard South this June. So I went out there to just talk to their guys and see them and watch the Jet throw it around a little bit against some competition. And Isaac Jensen, I don't know if you remember this. This was probably a year ago. I was like, man, love that guy. Catches everything. And he still catches everything. So, yeah, he's good. He's put on some weight. You could tell he's gotten bigger. Yeah, you can tell he's gotten bigger and stronger and all that stuff. So he yeah, he's good. I feel good about it. I think once he gets to a college weight program, his body will kind of shape more, right? So he's good. Nebraska is not there for him, not in the conversation anymore for him. So
hey, how about another guy that's getting some run tonight that we've liked forever, in Jalen Succo?
Yeah. He's like the Swiss Army knife. If you remember last year,
versatile,
said he just kind of does everything. He's the Deebo Samuel of, high school football in Nebraska. So he's
his frame. It's so good to see him look, because remember when I was paranoid, right? You were like, Dave, we're cutting it down. And then he had the little injury and we were shaking hands and I was like, oh my God, he's lost an amazing amount of weight. And to see him back in that 215, 220-ish range, I'm super happy for him because he's really good.
Yeah, he missed some time last year. It sucked. I think it was I don't know the exact injury, so I'm not going to speculate on that, but it was something internal, I would think, because he lost all that weight. So he literally, Deebo Samuel is the best comp I can give because he can just do basically everything. You can line him up at running back, H-back. He can split out even wide. He can play outside linebacker if you need him to. He can probably rush the passer with his hand in the ground. He can just do a lot of stuff. And he's really athletic and a strong kid, smart too. So that one will be pretty interesting to see what
happens.
Yeah, what happens.
I could see him blowing up because he's gonna be a good tester too. So
yeah,
you actually watch his tape and you maybe don't believe that he's as good as the film says, because on film he's you could just tell. I mean, you can just tell he's really good.
Yeah,
and then he tests well, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the guy. Because some guys it just doesn't match up.
No.
Right? You watch them in 7-on-7, or you look at their athleticism, and then you watch them in game, and it's like, you should pop more, right? And then some guys pop, and then you watch them test, and it's like, oh.
I would have thought those numbers would be
I would have
better.
thought, yeah. So he's one of those guys where I think it fits.
It lines up, right? Both things line up.
Justify you, yeah.
The numbers justify the tape.
I will tell you, watching him practice, it lines up too. He's not just some
doesn't need a babysitter.
No, not at all. So, we talked about Nebraska's recruiting in the before, and hey, right now we have all these in-state guys and that are high-level guys. And Nebraska's not necessarily on all of them, or guys they've maybe offered aren't, considering them, or vice versa, something happened and whatever. But Succo's a guy I could see just with his versatility that Nebraska could maybe take a swing at.
Yeah.
It's kind of he's a little bit bigger of a Jace Reynolds, even though Reynolds is probably more straight line fast, right? I think that's a person that could maybe, have that.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
You don't think so?
And I like Jace too. I was just up there picking up Zoe from dance yesterday, and that place is immaculate.
Elkhorn North?
Yeah. I chuckled. I was like, ugh.
We got 2 turf fields and
they both are full. They had camps. I was like, damn.
Yeah. So I mean,
AB guys, AB.
Both. Yeah. You say that place was immaculate, but then you go to.
I haven't seen the finished product at the district yet, so
then you go to your school. Hey, here's a $30 million.
I'm not living in a glass house, babe.
I'm just making sure we're not.
It's also not like Elkhorn South a dump.
No,
that place is pretty ridiculous too.
That's what tax-based revenue can do for you.
Again, two turf full 100-yard fields there too now. So,
let me ask you this. This is about as objective as I can get. I'm a little surprised because they are 2 different years.
Mm-hmm.
One's 26, one's 27. But I'm a little surprised at the direct comps between Pittman and Darian Jones. Like, I think Nebraska fans think it's one or the other. I do not, number one. But two, Darian is clearly a year older. Right. So I don't know. I guess having played against both of them, coached against both of them, I'm surprised that people try to pin this down to like a direct 1-to-1 because it's really not. In my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't think they're that similar, to be honest. And Pittman's a safety. Darian can play safety, but he's longer, frames a lot longer, and Darian's a corner. So I think Darian's like a corner. That's what he's going to be.
I could see him playing in the slot like a nickel.
Yeah, it could be that too. But I think
he's a really good tackler though.
True. I look at their frames different.
I know Torrey's very compact.
Yeah.
It's like a powerful build.
You could just tell he looks like a strong kid.
Yeah.
But Darian standing next to you the other day, I thought it was funny you asked him the question about his real height. Because he's clearly taller than you.
Yeah, that's because there's some consternation about how tall he is. And then if you look at the recruiting sites, one has him as 6 foot and 160. And I'm like, that's not true. So that's why I asked him, just to make sure we get some updated information about that out there.
I was surprised to see he was honest, so that didn't surprise me. But I was surprised to see that he's not quite to 180. He looks every bit of it.
Yeah, I think
he was much bigger. Like when I see him a fair amount, but he seems bigger than 180.
Yeah, he looks bigger than 180. He's built I wonder what his body fat is. It's got to be pretty low. Because he's pretty cut up.
I think sometimes people forget all the ways that he scores, whether it's a scoop score, a pick six, a punt return, a kickoff return, a touchdown catch.
He just go up and catch a touchdown over your head on top of you.
He affects the game in all three facets all the time. You have to know where Sticks is, right? He's just the guy you have to game plan for.
His weight thing, track. I mean, he ran a lot of track, 300 hurdles, 110s. He ran a lot of track stuff. So that probably took some off. He'll get it. I feel good about him gaining the weight and getting it back on. But you do. What was the game?
Hey, same class, two different position groups. Who ends up having more quality Power 5 offers, Warren or Pittman?
Well, Warren has more now. Well, they're both.
The lists are both ridiculous.
I mean, it's kind of incredible for that year.
They're both pretty high up there and already have kind of a bunch. I think Pittman has 16 or something right now. So, and Notre Dame, Michigan,
out there.
And Braylon will be up there too. How much Braylon got? 14, 15 right now too.
Yeah, and they're quality.
Yeah, these are all, I feel, very much so committable offers.
These last 4 or 5 years have been impressive.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we went through with basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in the early 2020s?
Yeah, the 19 to 23. And now we're not.
And it's been happening with baseball.
A little bit of a desert.
It's been happening with volleyball. It's been happening with softball. I listened to Coach Hurd. His sit down. I'm a huge fan of that family.
Mike, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised because he is one of Mr. Softballs, but his command of the region and the state is obviously why Omaha's been able to recruit at such a high level. But I loved his calm demeanor when he talked about just the quality of softball that's played here. And I'm like, it's crazy how good the bat and ball sport is in the state of Nebraska.
I mean, baseball and softball both are
pretty
high level.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, at Arkansas and Kate Kozol right now.
I mean, where do you start?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been going on for. I mean, Preble and Greg Olson were years ago.
It's been going decades. Yeah.
Just years of good bat and ball play here.
Yeah. Well, then you look
at it. Volleyball gets a ton of run, and it's fantastic too.
As it should.
But man, it's incredible.
I will tell you why. It's because the clubs have been established for such a long time here. Outside of baseball, I guess that just kind of started a handful of years ago. But the clubs, like softball, club softball is like big deal. Club volleyball obviously is a huge deal. They run the sport in Nebraska for sure, probably across the country. The softball is like a pretty big deal too when it comes to club stuff. There's so many good ones. Like, I mean, Quakes Gold. What else? I'm not even gonna try and name it. I would forget someone and someone would get mad at me, so I'm just gonna stop there. So we're not.
I just if he wasn't so terrifying in his demeanor, we need to talk to Coach Hurd more. But he Mike
Hurd is terrifying.
Sweats intensity.
No.
And I asked his cousin, I asked Jason because that's my nutrition guy, and of course I know little brother, and like the consensus of like who's the toughest, like it takes like a millisecond to say Mike. I'm like, yeah.
Really?
A millisecond to say Mike.
Bill's not soft either.
No.
Bill,
but he's a joy to talk to though. Like
Bill? Yeah.
Like quietly, he's probably one of my favorite. I sent him a message the other day, and it's like he's one of my favorite people.
Wait, did he respond to you?
Yeah.
How long did it take him?
Wow, good call. I text him in the morning, early, probably in the 7s or 8s.
Okay.
And he hit me back after 9 p.m.
Yeah, so that's not right. Par for the course.
Well, who am I to like?
Yeah, you're not any good either. By the way,
judging that
pot kettle.
Yeah. Speaking of Bill Hurd, I went to summer league basketball Monday night at prep, and I walk in and I'm like, "What is going on?" Gretna High has a 1-to-1 coach to player ratio right now in the summer. I even went over to him like, oh, I said some adult things.
Hey, Prep sitting on another young potential wing swing young Jim. Gem. Jem. Gem. Not Jim. Gem.
I think there's some work there that needs to happen. But yeah, there's a maybe there for sure. Like, it's something to keep an eye on. I will tell you, like, the best player in the gym, though, now goes to AL. So,
I will give you a ton of pushback.
Especially
now that Weber's left.
Yeah, I mean, he was. We're talking about Kellen. He was at Blair, now going to AL. Yeah, they play West Side.
Mm-hmm.
He was the best player on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So, and that's with
a lot of whispering after that one.
Yeah, there. I may or may not have talked to Coach Simons, and he's like, "Oh, I let it be known that."
Hey, he pulls no punches.
Yeah, that
cares given.
Yeah, like you guys think you're, that guy. Well, that guy was the best player, and he was. He's really good. So, there's some young basketball talent that's got a chance to kind of be pretty good in the region. We just need to see it, come to fruition, if you will. I mean, we're right now. I guess I tweeted the other day after Jacob Weber left to go to La Luminaire, which, good for him. Like, you get that opportunity, go for it. Right now in the 2026 or senior class in Nebraska for basketball, there are 0 Division I offers for players, which would be a first in a long time that's happened. The last time we got close to that was 2016 Tristan Simpson was the one Division I player out of high school. And he went to South Dakota. And last year we only had two out of high school that went, and that was Bryson Ball and Brock Scholl. So we're on a bit of a downtrend on the boys basketball side of stuff. And hopefully that turns around. But hey, maybe that means it'll be just a little more competitive. And to be frank, I believe I said this publicly in the past too, is might just help the GPAC guys that are used to recruiting really well in Nebraska and getting really good players, because maybe parents and players will actually start like taking their phone call more. And people won't think that they're like better than them and stuff like that. So no, like I had a conversation on Monday night.
I was going to say, man, you don't got to tell me. You don't got to tell me.
Like I had a conversation on Monday night with a current GPAC, Monday and Friday, with current GPAC assistant coaches, meaning like your Midlands, Concordias, Dones, all that. And like, I was like, hey, this little downturn of high level talent, probably good for you guys. And they're like, yeah, but we still have people that won't take our call. And I'm like, then we talked about who, and I was like, oh, really? Interesting. Like that person should probably be taking your call. And it's a name that's decently well known in high school basketball right now. So I'm like, and that person has no Division II offers, at least right now, like public anyway, that I know of. So I don't know what we're doing. Like probably just, you don't have to like commit somewhere. You should probably not just turn down people that want to talk to you about potentially playing college basketball for them. Yeah,
I will say the hardest part about recruiting NAI level ball is it's a snap to reality for a lot of the kids and a lot of the parents. Most of the time the parents more so than the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of time the parents and the kids, where it's the first time they're thinking, oh, I may not be that guy.
Right. Yeah.
And the hardest part is a lot of like, if you're honest as an NAIA coach, which you should be at any level, you kind of have to be the one that breaks that news to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tough because you've got a JUCO coach usually coming in at the same time, and nothing against JUCO coaches, but usually the JUCO coach is still selling the dream.
Yeah, saying I can get you there, right? Yeah.
The NAI coach is selling reality. And
right.
A lot of times people don't want to buy reality, they want to buy the dream. But then they get to the JUCO a lot of times and they have recruited 50 guys and the coach doesn't know your name, and it's a nightmare a lot of times, more than it is the dream.
Yeah.
Like, all that's true, right? I'm not overstating any of that.
No, yeah, that's 100% true. I mean, man, I saw something a couple years ago, and it was great. And it was more about like, everyone thinks kids are entitled and whatever, this generation of kids. Well, how did they get that way? It was because the parents made them that way. So it was actually to do with like the everybody gets a ribbon and a trophy and stuff.
What I heard is who gave them the trophies, like,
right?
Who
yeah,
was and buying the participation trophies,
right? And it's because the parents want the picture with the trophy or the ribbon or whatever to put on their Facebook to show off their kids or whatever, and like that's what changed. It's not the kids necessarily. I mean, hey, there are some entitled kids out there, let me tell you, but it's not that primarily. It's primarily, stemmed from this everyone needs a ribbon and trophy thing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, my daughter's trying out for like whatever club soccer right now. And I told my wife, I'm like, listen, if she don't make the team, like if she don't make one of the better teams, like we're playing rec again, because like she needs to get better and we're not gonna act like we're something we're not. Like we're just not doing that. And if you know me financially, I can be pretty cheap with things. So
clubs are rough.
I'm not gonna spend the money for to be on like the third or fourth team or whatever.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time because you don't want to rehearse it because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them.
All the success is great and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field, are what lasts a lifetime.
You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Here with Nebraska volleyball, Skylar Pierce. Skylar, you're just telling me this is your second year helping at Harrison's camps. You told me there's a lot of kids here that even recognize you. How special is that for you?
It's so special just because you never really understand the impact that you're making on people, but when you come to these events or like even other sporting events, you just can see their face light up, and it's just such a wholesome feeling.
Yeah. Why is it so important for you and this Nebraska volleyball team to give back to the community?
Nebraska does so much for our team, the fan base, everything. Like they love our team so much. So the fact that we get to come back and like hang out with these kids that just love the sport so much and love hanging out with us, it's a cool, really cool experience.
We're joined now by Mike Sautter, and as we're kind of in this middle of this conversation about kind of Coach Rule and some of the way things go about here, I kind of wanted to bring Mike in for part of it as well, because he sees this at the high school level and at the college basketball level quite a bit also. So, Mike, I'm going to kind of set this up long form here, and then you can jump in as well. We're talking a lot about the process of how people go about their business and how Nebraska does things. And we brought Nebraska basketball into it a little bit too, talking about NIL and bidding wars and all this other stuff. And we're talking about how we like the way Nebraska goes about their business. We like the way Coach Rule, the process and things like that. We understand, right? Like none of that really matters if the wins don't come, right? Like at some point the wins have to come as well. But we also know without a shadow of a doubt, because Bo Pelini is no longer the football coach at Nebraska, that winning itself does not get the job done either, right? Like we've seen across college football, guys that win national championships and then 2 years later lose their job because the winning is not enough by itself either. So I guess I get kind of frustrated when I see people like, oh, you just got to win the games. You just got to win the games. When we know for a fact, you don't just have to win the games. People also have to like the way you go about your business too.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's look at Coach Hoiberg is a great example of that. They've won-ish, right? Like they made a tournament 2 years ago. They made a nice run to win the crown, whatever that means for the future. I'm not sure it means a ton. But he's also not gonna could Nebraska go out and in the transfer portal basketball wise and drop $1 million on a guy to get like a dude? Yeah, they could, but their depth would hurt, their balance would hurt. It probably doesn't fit the culture that they wanted. They could do that, but I don't think that would be the smart thing to do. Rather than do that, they've used their money and just kind of balanced it out as far as basketball is concerned. They're not just spending it all on one guy, and then that makes their bench be not as good. So their philosophy, it certainly feels like, is to have more of a balance, which I think is smart and fiscally probably the right way to do it, because well, look at Creighton, for example, with Pop Isaacs. Like they gave him some money and he was, frankly, didn't fit. I was going to say something else, but I would have got myself in trouble there. So he didn't fit. He didn't fit into what they did, and it didn't work out for them, and they got burned by it, to be honest. Now they ended up being fine and making the tournament and winning the game and all that stuff. But
spent that money more responsibly, they wouldn't have had the guard issues and wouldn't have had to play Steve
right.
40 minutes a game every night. Like it bite them, right? It
yeah. Oh yeah, it bit them bad. So you have when you can build a team with more depth like that, because you're not putting all of your eggs into one basket, if you will. It makes a little more sense.
Have you guys surmised, or kind of what do you think? Because I'm listening to the counter argument, and Brian brings up an interesting point. I'm going to give you an example or two or three. He says, we have two coaches in football and basketball that have won whatever it is, 35 or whatever % of their conference games, and they're somehow loved. And in my head, at first blush, I'm thinking, that is kind of weird. What is it that we like? Manner in which they do business. We believe in them. Track record says it's going to be this or whatever, right? But then let me look at it from the other way. How happy would we be to win at a high clip and not have it be people like would we be cool with like Urban Meyer or Rick Pitino or
I mean, for me, Danny Hurley. People ask me that question all the time. Would I like Danny Hurley?
If it were the other way,
where they win a ton,
and we win a ton,
they go
but we don't like how they do it, would we be okay with that?
I don't think that's
it doesn't seem like it at first blush.
Certainly not here. They might be okay with it some places, not at Nebraska. I don't think.
Or how about this? This may be fair. What if all things being equal, we could bring Bo back as is for 9 wins? Pencil it in for 9 wins. You think we would play Let's Make a Deal?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think Bo is probably a 50-50 proposition with most people. Like 50% of the fan base probably didn't mind. 50% probably didn't like it. That might be a little high on the didn't like it, but I don't know.
I never want to shoot anybody down just because they're saying something to the contrary. I'm trying to see what it is that I could learn.
Is there validity to it?
Is there? Yeah, like what are my alternatives, or what?
I mean,
what
the
else
alternative. Patino's a good alternative to Hoiberg, I think, where you've got a guy. I don't know that anybody loves the way he goes about his business. I don't know that anybody loves interacting with him that much. Like, pretty tough hang, really good basketball coach, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't know how Nebraskans, and maybe Patino's not a good example because he's not quite as.
And it doesn't have to be
people.
extreme either, because it's not about
like
not about Nebraska nice or cutthroat cheat.
Yeah, what about like Sean Miller?
Right? Like, it's not.
Sean Miller's maybe a good example. He wins a decent amount, not so much that you're willing to like. Patino wins so much that you're just like, as long as he's not like committing any felonies, we're pretty cool. But like Sean Miller wins a good amount, like more than Hoiberg for sure. But I don't know that anybody really loves him. He feels pretty greasy sometimes in the way he goes about his business. Like, was Nebraska okay with a Sean Miller as opposed to a Fred Hoiberg?
And maybe, probably be okay with that.
Don't you have to pit it against the program's success?
You do. And that's why I think people have brought up winning percentages, right? You brought up the conference winning percentage. Somebody brought up Rule's overall percentage.
I'm just trying to understand the lane train.
Like Nebraska in basketball, and Kyle brings up a good point. There's been 3 coaches in all of Nebraska's history that have brought them to an NCAA tournament.
Oh, fudge, I got to do this.
So Hoiberg being one of those guys is an accomplishment. Right? Like, that is an accomplishment in that scenario. And going to, like, I'll give you this example. It's one I've used before. And Mike, I know you watch a ton of college football too. Who's a better football coach, Mike Leach or Larry Coker?
Ooh.
Okay.
They're different. Like,
knock it off.
Mike Leach?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not even like Larry Coker.
Stevie Nicks landslide.
Like, right? You know who has a higher career winning percentage?
Larry
Coker. Kind of significantly, right? He does.
Right.
He took over a Miami program that had one of the best rosters we've ever seen in college football. And then rode that for a while, was able to sustain it for a while, kind of fell off, still was able to ride that super high winning percentage, right? Mike Leach went to maybe the 3 worst power conference jobs in all of college football, maybe ever, outside of 80s Kansas State.
Well, you say the same thing about Rule.
That's my exact point, right? Like, Rule going to Temple when it was at the time that they was there. Baylor is maybe one of the worst jobs anyone's ever taken over in that context. There was hardly anyone even on that football team after the Art Briles stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they were dead. Like,
by the way,
they essentially had gotten the death penalty.
Yeah.
Like, it was like taking over SMU in the late 80s.
Right. Yes.
And so we like using his winning percentage, maybe not the most accurate, because the fact that he got that team to 10 wins in year 3, when it took SMU, I think 30 years to make a bowl game again, is unbelievable. And that wasn't even really in the transfer portal era where he could turn it over quick.
I guess, because I used to say this all the time. Remember when Coach Frost wasn't winning and a lot of the press conferences turned into what we have and what we don't have? And I would always say, what are we doing in the meantime while we're waiting to win, while we're waiting to get better players? Right? Because that's just that's how I would look at business.
What are you doing to set the foundation to get what you need?
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that I'm gravitating towards being principled and having a philosophy in terms of how you want to recruit, how you want to spend money. Because I think in the end, if winning becomes the byproduct, you don't have to adjust.
It's
you know what I mean?
It's quick money. It's quick money pyramid scheme versus work hard, long money.
And it's just how long can you afford to be in the hole, I guess, right?
Right.
Because with the fan base, they'll tell you, like, and rightfully so, at some point you got to win.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Like, that's with everything, right? Like no one's saying you can go along this way and not win, right? No one's saying that. Right. What I'm saying is if you're going the other way, your pyramid scheme, your Ponzi scheme, whatever. Yeah, Ponzi schemes are great if you get out in time.
Mm-hmm.
You make a lot of money. But if you're there when the bottom falls out, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do you think Florida feels about the aftermath of Urban Meyer? Do you think they feel good about that?
Not great because they still haven't bounced back from
like
that.
Ohio State ended up a lot better, right? They ended up with not better than they were with Urban Meyer, but they ended up in a better position than Florida did, right? Because they had a guy in place that was good to go. But like sometimes when you're left holding the bag, you end up like how many coaches has Florida gone through since Urban Meyer? Like 5? Is it 5? It's at least 4, right?
Yeah.
So
count interim.
If you count interim, it's more than that. Yeah, but you sit here and you go, okay, yes, you have to win at some point. That is a given.
I kind of figured out like why part of why I am like I am about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it was drilled into me, especially from my first visits in Nebraska in the early 90s versus getting on campus and kind of how it changed. I just remember we had a coach that said they had a lot of good players in the past, right? They were rattling off first rounders and they couldn't get over the hump. And he wanted to revisit how they did business in terms of treating one another and changing the culture. And so I always kind of start with like mental makeup and that, because it's not like Booker was a better player than Pickens or Wistrom was a better player than Mike Kroll, right? Like that's not really the discussion. It was, why couldn't those guys get over the hump in crunch time? And I asked Dumas this once about the biggest difference between him being on campus pre and post that 92 class and the Unity Council and all this other stuff. And the easy answer is T-Phrase, but it was way bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
It was the fact that, Coach Osborne would do things like wait on T-Phrase to give Mike Grant every opportunity to win the job, or, to wait on a guy like Brendan Stye having to start, or to play, Wiegert behind Boerboom, or like there was just this thing where there was this quiet transition into earning it and being other-centered and cheering for your teammates that actually changed Nebraska's culture. Until we started playing with and for one another, it didn't matter the kind of talent he was accruing, right? The way that you wanted to beat Sooner Magic was to be unified.
Yeah.
And so I always, I don't know, man. You don't get that life without Tomich and Wistrom together in it, or John Hess and Jay Foreman in it. And it does something to my spirit when I hear people just talk about, oh man, they had great depth. They just had fellas. And it's like, yeah, that was really hard too. Like that wasn't always fun. Like sometimes you wanted to be the guy or didn't want to cheer for the guy. Like I'm pretty sure, Mac-10 wasn't always interested in cheering for Mike Brown. You know what I mean? Especially coming off an injury when a guy gets to campus in 96. So it's like,
look at the running back room in that time though too. I mean,
and I try to take me out of it, but yeah, that's the easy one. But
That's
you had to do it in the quarterback room too.
right. Yeah.
So I just like the methodology in terms of how to run a program before I worry about what the end results are. And at some point I'll get to what the end results are, but I don't want to build a house on shaky ground either, right?
Right.
I tried that in my personal life. That doesn't work. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta, it just doesn't work. So
Yeah.
I'm always going to gravitate towards the methodology. And I like the fact they're not blowing money on NIL and you want the right guy. And man, do I want to win? But I'm also smart enough to know I can't compare going to Baylor post Bryles versus the monumental increases in the program's development since Coach Rule took over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not important for me to understand that he hasn't beaten a Power 5 opponent ranked, because I'm just a big fan of just because you have been doesn't mean you always will be. That just would be a miserable way to live life.
Right.
I just.
Well, how many times do we hear in the pre-Warriors dynasty in the NBA, right? Oh, jump shooting team can't win a championship. Team can't win a championship. Jump shooting team can't win a championship until a jump shooting team won a championship. And now it's like, okay, just because it was true doesn't mean it's always going to be true. Like we're talking about, hey, Moneyball can't win a title. Moneyball can't win a title. Moneyball can't win a title. Guess how every team that's won a title in the last 20 years operates?
You know who I think of, Mike? Talking about this? I can't help but to think of a guy like Coach Petito.
Oh, yeah.
Won a ton.
Yep.
Set his own standard. And at some point, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And guess who didn't change?
He never changed. No.
Coach Petito. And maybe that was part of it, but he was still the same guy that people were vilifying behind his back. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't think I can ever move that way. I don't know. And I've seen, like at 80, it just, I don't know. I think Coach Petito comes to mind right away. Sometimes the winning just isn't. It's weird.
It's kind of like this voluptuous apple that I have.
You've been waiting to go to that apple.
When Bigfoot comes, I just hand this apple. And then I know, because I know Bigfoot's going to be in the area or something.
Oh, man.
You got to get off states and highways, though. You got to do the back roads.
So when Bigfoot comes, I'm just be like, here, have this apple. Don't eat me. Eat this very voluptuous apple that I have.
Harriet alone. I love Harriet. By the way, I think we need to tell her, listen, I'm pretty sure Harriet's not, she doesn't do drugs.
I don't know her well enough to definitively say whether or not she partakes in any sort of
that's fine. That's fine.
In any sort of recreational activities like that. I really don't know.
Well, she was born in 45, so she's 80, right? She said she was 53.
Yeah.
She's probably done drugs at some point to believe that.
She was in her 20s in the 60s, so
that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of those have a little more lasting impact on how people think and their thought processes and their, you know. I do wonder, like, you know, you would think you would see at some point, like if there's so many of them, which she says there's a lot of them, like you'd find remains at some point, right? Like I get the live ones don't want you to take pictures, but we've never found a body.
It's kind of like, it'd be kind of like dinosaurs, right? Like you would hope you would find some bones or something.
At some point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd have some archaeological evidence.
What if they have found them, but they're just not?
No.
With?
No, Shane. No. Stupid. No.
They find them and they think they're dinosaur bones. Is that the?
Yeah. Back to the rule thing. Here's another example. And Ravi, you love talking about this. So when I moved into my house, my yard looked like crap. And that was 3 years ago. And now because I've manicured it and built it, and it looks pretty fantastic.
I will say I didn't want to give you credit because every time you send a picture of your lawn in the chat, I out of principle I try and ignore it. But I was really impressed with the DIY striper you put on there. That actually looked really good.
Yeah.
I've ruined a yard or two with slip and slides before, and like you got that thing looking nice in a hurry. I was impressed.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hole that my daughter, you know, like you hit the slip and slide, same spot, right? Just rented out for like 3 hours, and so we have a little spot that I'm gonna have to just reseed and kind of put some dirt in and do all that stuff for. But looks great. Yesterday I'd used the DIY striper diagonally. So
I didn't mean to be rude the other day, not listening to you talk about how you jerry-rigged your mower.
Yeah.
But after the two different screws and the taking the thing apart, that is so above anything I'm even capable of seeing.
It's a little extra.
I felt overwhelmed.
It was impressive, though. I will say the results were impressive.
It works. It works just fine. I had to go to the hardware store a couple times. So it's just a broom. It's just a broom with some like elbow, like some, I bought the stainless steel like elbows and some washers and lock nuts and bolts and all kinds of stuff.
I get what it is now.
What's that?
With Lane. And this will fit right in your wheelhouse.
I was just going to bring this up because I was about to.
It makes
blow my top.
It makes sense now, though.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you know where he's coming from.
I do, but it's also just wildly inaccurate.
Okay, so the problem with kind of this philosophy and the pushback is, and this is his last statement that he made was, I guess doing things the right way is not recruiting the top in-state players. I guess that is the Nebraska way. So that's the truth of the matter, right?
But it's not any more well thought out than the rest of it because it's just not true.
But this is the difference between
it is this year, though.
This is the difference between me.
It's true this year.
This is the difference.
Okay.
At least I know what I'm dealing with. I don't have to agree. I don't have to disagree. It's his. What do you mean it's true this year? Because of Jensen and Tamala?
They're
how interested in Nebraska were Isaac and Jet?
Isaac was and then wasn't. So that's fair. Had an official visit and then decided not to go on an official visit to Nebraska.
I get it now.
So Jet, Nebraska really didn't show any interest there. So he wasn't interested in them either. So it's fine. Which, by the way, yes, can I take a victory lap on that?
Are we going to hear the same thing in 2 years about Braylon Warren?
Probably.
Yeah, but I'd ask Steve and Braylon the same thing. How interested in Nebraska are you?
Also, I mean, are we just going to pretend like Nebraska had their quarterback commits for those classes really early in 26 and 27? So, like, I get, and listen, here's the thing that frustrates me about that sentiment, right? Is, Mike, true or false? There's way more good players coming out of Nebraska now than there has been in most of the recent history from Nebraska.
True.
Power 4, like, quality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I think we're used to this. Hey, Nebraska's going to need 100% of the 3 guys in the state that can play power conference football, right? That's what we see. We say, hey, there's a handful of guys. 3 maybe an exaggeration, but it's not some years. Some years there hasn't been one. Like I've been following this as long as you have, at least from a tangential standpoint, because I just care about people from the state. Like, there's been years where there has not been 3 guys that can play power conference football in the state of Nebraska that are going on to Wyoming or North Dakota State or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay. We have not adjusted to the fact that we're going on double-digit guys a lot of these years that can play power conference football.
Yeah, multiple years in a row now.
Probably not going to get all of those guys. That's just not – it's not practical, whether they want them or not, whether those guys are interested or not, whether it makes sense for their roster or not. Like, you're not going to bat 100 on 10 to 12 guys the same way you want to on 2 or 3 guys. I don't think we've adjusted this idea that just because you can play power conference football in the state of Nebraska, it's no longer the, hey, you're the one guy Nebraska can get out of the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. And I certainly believe that. And it's great for kids to leave the state and have success and find success. We need more of them to leave the state and have success, because if you really
rooted on the next go.
Yeah, if you really think about it, in the last couple of cycles here, the ones that have left haven't been great. Xavier Watts, great. Fantastic, actually.
Kramer's doing good at Iowa State. Right?
There's a few below the radar. I like Ducker. I think
Ducker's been fine. He's now like where's he at now? Temple now. And he's had some
people sleep on him. I think he's 3 for 3 in terms of teams where he's landed. He's been their leading rusher.
Yeah, he'll be.
He had like a 1,000-yard season in Northern Illinois, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't hate on that at all. I like Ducker.
But there's guys like that, but then there's also examples of, like, we're still waiting to see, Caden Helms, Micah Riley, Ducker, those type of guys that we're still waiting for, right? Like, so
there's a lot.
Yeah, so we need to see that more. My thing is just, I guess, talking with the people in this cycle or this class, 26, maybe a little 27 too. It's like, hey, like, we're 45 minutes away. Should we have to go to your camp? Like we're right here.
Are you? I don't want to pawn that off.
And yes, part of my opinion is I do believe that like, hey, we're right here, man. Like, you know, should we have to go to your camp for you to show interest in us, for you to like recruit us and to do all that? We're right here. Like that's the questions, right? That people are asking or have. And I
get it because a couple of those are right in my very own backyard.
Right. Like I see both sides of that.
I've seen Teddy, I've seen Anthony, I've seen Braylon. I get it.
Right. And I get both sides of that too. Like, I mean, geez, they're right here. Just like they're right here. You can see them a lot. Like,
but I will say one thing, and I can only say this about Braylon and Teddy so much, because I know that question has come from both parents, right?
Well, Matt Rule has been very not publicly, but he has said,
and he's talked to DJ on a more than two occasions. Where, and I think it's kind of the same thing with. I do think there is something to them seeing you in their environment versus against other high school competition.
That's very fair. And Nelson Wheeler is an example.
And I think the one thing that sticks in his craw about Teddy is if he was going to run that time and test out for Notre Dame,
why wouldn't he do it here?
I guarantee you, Coach Rule wishes that he would have done that in Memorial Stadium. I mean, there's some validity to that. But on the other hand, could you understand a school saying we'd like to see you through our drills and in an out because we have our standards of kind of how that translates?
Yeah, 100%. That's fair. It's a fair argument. And like I said, both sides, I see both sides of it. But I also look at like, man, like Miller South has 8 guys. We talked about this last week. And like, how many times did Nebraska go to Miller South whenever they could, like in the fall or even in in the winter in like January or February or whatever. So,
which like in the Jet the other day is another reason why I like him. I sent him a congratulations from 7-on-7. He was like, "Yes, sir." But when he was doing the interviews, like his self-awareness is one of the things that I've always liked about him.
I like Jet a lot. I really
I do too.
Just listening to him, I was like, man. Okay. Like, hey, I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I had to work on this. I had to do that. Like he took all that stuff and he used it as fuel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just hearing him go through the, interviewing him on kind of his journey. And I think they caught up with him at Elite 11 and just his own self-assessment. I was like, he's always going to give himself a chance because at a young age, he's capable of doing that.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Self-evaluating.
It's just really hard. And then to be honest, because most of us lie to ourselves.
He's very mature. Like he's very mature. Like his dad, if you know his dad, very measured, like very professional person. Like he has been in had to have tough conversations with people before. So Jed will be fine. I am, I'm going to be very happy for him. And look, the Alabama offer was legit. That's all we'll say that.
The only thing I'm upset about him flipping to Alabama is I was really excited about Matt Campbell getting a really good quarterback.
Right.
Like, because I like Iowa State. I like Matt Campbell. Like, I appreciate what he's done with that program. It's a bummer that he's not getting a really good quarterback. That was, I said, what did I say just a year ago? Like, I didn't understand why Jet didn't have any offers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I said that out loud, I think, on this show, where I was like, hey, that guy's pretty good. He's got really good size. Like, that's a dude that has, like, that should be being recruited at a higher level. And to his credit, he fixed some things that he needed to get better at, and he got that acknowledgement later in the process. But that's my only it's not even beef. That's my only thing that I don't love about the Alabama flip is I just really liked that Matt Campbell was going to get a good quarterback.
It was, I will tell you, I talked to him and his dad on Monday at our 7-on-7 event, and Jet wasn't there on Tuesday because he had to fly out to Elite 11, but it was tough. Like it was on Monday. Like when they were on the phone with both schools, and Coach Waters does a great job and had built a tremendous relationship with Jet and his family. And it was a pretty tough conversation, I would imagine, to have to decommit there, because they did build this. But most kids in that situation would have immediately been like, I'm dropping them and I'm going to Alabama. They took some time and really thought it through. So I need to it's a lot of credit to them. Again, it shows the maturity there.
I know it's I just like him.
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
I've seen.
I know his dad better than I know him, but
I've seen better crumble under similar situations.
And I tell you what, I've seen that guy get coached really hard, and he's cool.
Oh yeah, he can take it.
The thing about Jet is, one thing when he was like a sophomore, I was like, is he athletic enough? But now he's pretty athletic enough.
I saw him throw down on somebody pretty aggressive.
Look at the basketball stuff. Yeah, look at basketball. He's a pretty athletic guy, and he can move. He can really move out of the pocket and do some things, and he's fine.
Jerome, so when you, as we're talking with Mike Sautter, when you talk about, hey, we're 45 minutes away, because again, I don't think you're exaggerating, because I know that sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
How fair is it to ask those guys in that same setting why you just don't shoot down the road the same amount of drive time both ways?
When guys from all over the country,
because it kind of is like my mom would say, like, she's like, you don't call me, and I'd say,
well, you don't call either.
It's a two-way deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what? So
like Nebraska has kids coming from all over the country to do the thing they're asking, and it.
Why I asked the question? Do you know why I asked the question?
Why?
Because I was but I don't want to exaggerate. I had I've talked about this generally, difficult conversation with Coach Aycock about Caleb going to Ames and came to West Side, and I think I can say this. It just wasn't the example he used. Is I have this guy, and because Caleb canceled he canceled an OV, and it was going to be it was inclement weather and whatever. And he said, I have guys that have come in from this place, and this place that are significantly further. We're only talking about 2 and some change.
Yeah.
Basically, I see better than I hear. And I was like, okay, not much I could say. So what's the first thing that I did is I said, well, hey, I'll talk to your DB coach. We can definitely own that. Yada, yada, yada. Now, that discussion, when I told Caleb about that, of course, his personality. It made him mad.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because he felt like the reason was legit. And you just know how he's real linear like that.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a disaster from then on. But that conversation is definitely thought about amongst a lot of schools. Like, hey, come see us too. And I think it's like that now more, Mike, because school, you have to you're going to be compensated. So they have to know. I mean, you don't get hired without a real interview.
Yeah, so they want to.
Right.
People can listen to my tape all they want, but they still want me to come in and talk to them. And you think I don't want to say,
hey, you've
play
heard
the
enough?
broadcast.
Yeah. Like, get the offer or don't.
You know what I mean?
I also think people need to want to, before the interview, you probably need to have a couple phone calls and a little correspondence back and forth, though, too.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I see both sides of the coin for sure. But right now, like the sentiment with some Nebraska kids, families, coaching staff, whatever it may be, however that may be sliced, is, hey, we're right here. You need to show us some love too, and then we'll reciprocate it, I guess. That I think is part of this sentiment. So
fair or foul that this staff has spent more time in Omaha than any previous staff in the last 15 years. Certainly has. He certainly had Frost. Who?
Frost and Root's been a lot. What do you mean Omaha?
Wait, who?
What part of Omaha are we talking about?
Frost was coming to Omaha? Like
what part of Omaha?
Frost was coming to Omaha like Rule, yes or no?
West of 120th Street.
Well, who was out there that he was recruiting?
Oakhorn South a lot. And Burke.
Okay.
The other part
is an easy question. I kind of felt like it was a golf tennis ball question.
Yeah. Okay.
He hemmed and hawed over Larry Coker versus Mike Leach too. So
it's an easy question, Mike.
It is. Yes, Rule has been here more, but I'm saying back when Frost.
Where was the first? Where was the first place Mickey Joseph went when he got the interim tag?
Was it Central?
Did he feel like he had some making up to do?
Gretna.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Hey man, like, where's the first? Who did Rule want to go?
Well,
back?
he's making up to do.
Who did Rule want to go
72nd
back
Street.
and take a look at the quarterback spot in Gretna?
Yeah, Zane.
Okay, man, like keep it a buck. Keep it a buck, man.
Well, I'm just there was a lot of time spent west of 120th in the Frost era if recruiting.
I'm just saying.
Not a lot of time spent east of 120th Street or 84th Street.
Doing a quick count here, I believe this number's close, if not dead on. There are 40 guys from the state of Nebraska on this roster. 40.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can genuinely sit here and say that Coach Rule has not. And I know that's
no, I'm not saying that. By the way,
like, I know there's some people in recent classes that are like, maybe they deserved a phone call, maybe they didn't, whatever. But there's no way you can look like there's only.
I mean, we thought Mickey was a god because he was in Omaha as much as he was.
Like there's 129 guys on this
seriously
roster.
Misremembering.
No,
I said Damon. I said yes, he was there a lot, and like he needed to be east of 120th Street because they had a problem east of 120th Street.
Things like hosting camps, free clinics east.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just said when I was talking about the Frost thing west of I was very tongue in cheek there a little bit. Hopefully people understood that was kind of me.
I don't know, man. We got a tough group. You got to be.
So like,
this is a tough group.
People that know, like they struggled in the Frost era. Really,
it wasn't this. Bo heard it. Riley didn't know enough. Like we just are.
Before Coach Rule
just saying things to fit our. You can have your own opinions. You just don't get your own set of facts.
Before Coach Rule, they had kind of a problem.
Eastboro had Cooper on the streets. You did a broadcast from a North game 3 feet from Coach Rule. That's their head coach, Jerome.
Yes, I did not. Hey, again, like I said, let me go back
down here with.
I did not do that. I will never do that. By the way, well, I did say hello, but I wasn't like, here, let's take a selfie or whatever.
No, I meant the microphone. Didn't you get him for a hit?
I can't. No, not me.
He was with Coach Knight, and they stayed through like half or whatever.
Yeah, third quarter actually. Omaha North game last year.
He's not baby Gronk. He's not getting selfies with Coach Rule.
Hey, that little dude, man.
Dude.
He did do some investigating.
I'm just saying, 31% of the rosters from Nebraska.
I was not saying, I'm not like, okay, you guys are going to get me in trouble.
We all need a hug. I need a hug. You want to hug it out?
I got to drive to Kansas City here in like.
Oh, what's in Kansas City?
The boys basketball event.
Feel the music for a second?
Oh, the showcase?
Yeah, the Midwest Basketball Showcase. So I'll be there today and all day tomorrow. And listen to tomorrow's schedule, by the way, on basketball. We can talk about this. Next week. Let's talk a little more about what I meant and said. But the boys basketball Midwest Basketball Showcase is in Kansas City this weekend. Division I coaches will be there. There's teams from Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas. So it's a good event. It's always fun. I've been to every iteration of this event, even back when with the first one they ever had when they did the Scholastic events with live periods in June. So like Grady Dick was at this event.
Hey, was that the same event we went to that where they take a couple guys from each school that Cable was there? Remember?
Yes, but they changed it to where it's whole teams there. Yeah, it's whole teams now. So yes, it's the same event, but it's entire teams instead of
That's
just.
kind of a cool little deal.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I love it.
I have a lot of coaches there. That's where I actually got a chance to pick Crutch's brain on his philosophy.
Yeah, I love the event. So we'll be there. Jacob is I got to meet Jacob there. I have a dog.
I remember crying to you about how loaded a ropes team was from Nebraska.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys are putting in work. I was like, dang, man, who divvied up these teams?
Yeah, I was at Staley High School then. Now it's at home field in Kansas City. So
Staley was a beautiful campus.
It's no wonder why they win a lot. So
gosh, it was amazing. I mean, how many gyms did they have? 38 maybe? It made Northeast look small, and Northeast has like 18.
Northeast has 7 full courts in their high school. Omaha Central has 1.
Oh, I
full
know.
Court.
Just tell
one
them.
Full court. Yeah, when people complain about like winning and like, oh, we don't have whatever resources and stuff, I'm like, Omaha Central did it with 1 3/4 courts in their entire building, so no excuses. Like practice time was whatever. So that that's where I'll be tomorrow. There's a game. It's wild. The schedule is nuts. Like 8 a.m., 10 p.m. is the last game. There is a team from Nebraska playing every hour on the hour, starting at 8 a.m. and the last one at 10 p.m. That's it's a long day.
Well, have fun, big man. Enjoy some hoops in Kansas City.